All right, listen up, okay? You're probably hoping that I'm gonna come into the video and I'm gonna talk like the Netmarble CEO and I'm gonna make all these jokes. No, I'm not gonna do that, okay? I'm not gonna do that. All right? And I'm also not gonna wear these either. Listen up. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and yes, we got the Tier 3 sneak peek number 4 for the May update. Let's take a look at what it is, and let's give credit where credit is due to the sneak peek team. You are gods. Let's take a look. Okay, so that has got to be one of the best sneak peeks of all time. And I will say this right now, Netmarble, Monster, and Marvel Future Fight, if you do not use this music in any one of Star-Lord's skills or his tier 3 skill, then you are grossly, you're making a huge mistake. You're grossly undervaluing some of your best work. Because if you only hear this music when you tier 3 advance him, then that's a huge waste. You should hear this music every time you pop his tier 3 skill. Let's hear it one more time here because I love this little tune. So good. And then the image here, when you freeze frame it, when you freeze frame it here, when you see the chains, now you see the final image of that 4-piece mosaic. So as far as sneak peeks go, as far as, updates go and the hype meter, the Marvel Future Fight sneak peek team are S tier workers, and they deserve raises. I've said it before, and they should honestly be the ones making the updates for the game. Now, there's only one problem. Well, there's more than one problem. But visually speaking, there's only one problem with Star-Lord right now, is that his helmet does not match at all the helmet that he has in the comics. This is the helmet from Infinity War and Endgame. I don't know if they just copied and pasted it because they don't have the final one done yet, or if they didn't do it. They being the people who work on the animations and stuff, not the sneak peek team. It's two different teams. So we'll have to wait and see about that. But yes, Star-Lord is the tier 3. If you go and freeze frame it over here when he's putting on his helmet, you can see that by skipping ahead, there is a very, very cool sort of hidden tier 3 logo that's only on the screen for just a few short seconds. So very, very cute, very clever. Again, the sneak peek team, I take my hat off, I take my shirt off, I take it all off for you, because in a good way, because you are amazing. Now let's talk about the rest of the community. Let's rewind it now. Now that we've appreciated the sneak peek, now that we've appreciated the sneak peek team and all of the work that they do, let's talk about what a tier 3 Star-Lord means for Marvel Future Fight, because this is the tier 3 that we're going to be getting, and there are a lot of mixed emotions that come with that. Now, we'll try to be as fair as possible. Here we go. So, why is Star-Lord tier 3 good for the game? Why is this good? Well, it's good for Star-Lord fans right away. Anyone who's a fan of Star-Lord, whether you're a fan of him in the comics, whether you're a fan of him in Guardians of the Galaxy 1 or Guardians of the Galaxy 2 or Endgame, or Infinity War. Well, he's not really in Endgame much, but yeah, anyways. Thanos in Infinity War is probably a huge fan of Star-Lord. And so they're going to be immediately very happy. And I'm happy for them. Dash Pulse, etc. Secondly, it's good for Star-Lord as a character because he kind of sucks right now. He's not really a great character. His damage is kind of low. He's got a lot of iframes. Which does make him easy to play in Shadowland. You can just sort of cruise through his skills. You can sort of dance through his rotation, and he's pretty much immune to damage because he's always in iframe. He's got a very, very cool skill team up with Doctor Strange. I have a plan. This was one of the first skills to feature an additional character. This is all the way back from Infinity War. And so this, beautiful skill. Very simple, but just, sometimes beauty is simplicity. And he's also one of the only characters, and I think he was the first character to have original music on a skill. It's not much. It's a little guitar riff, but it's something, and it definitely makes it feel more spicy and more interesting when you're playing as Star-Lord. And he had that, I believe, from the beginning when he was first introduced. So although Star-Lord is not really a super popular character, he has been treated quite well in Marvel Future Fight. But even with that being said, and even with 3 uniforms, Star-Lord just hasn't really kept up. Even when he got his Infinity War uniform, he didn't keep up with other characters that got larger stat bumps and larger buffs to their skills. And he basically just remained as a leadership. Really nice 50% increased energy attack, and the devs sort of milked this by upgrading his leadership bit by bit. You can see it's 45, then it creeps up to 50, etc. So yeah, it's good for Star-Lord fans that he's getting a tier 3, and it's great for Star-Lord because he's not a good character. That's the one thing that I can appreciate about Star-Lord tier 3, is that he's a bad character. And I always say that I would prefer a bad character to get a tier 3 than a good character to get a tier 3, because good characters don't really need the tier 3 stat bump, right? I would much rather have a bad character, even if I don't like the character, I would much rather have a bad character like Ebony Maw get a tier 3 than a character that I like that is already very strong like Silver Surfer. As cool as Silver Surfer tier 3 would be, it's much better for balancing if a bad character gets their dues. So in that sense, this is a good tier 3. Thirdly, this is a good tier 3 because it can attract more casual MCU/Marvel fans to pick up Marvel Future Fight and play it, because they will recognize Star-Lord from the MCU. And if we had a more obscure tier 3 like Beta Ray Bill or Gladiator, there's a high chance that casual Marvel fans have no idea who that is, and so they would probably not be interested in the update from that perspective very much. So those are the things that I see that are good about Star-Lord tier 3. What's bad about Star-Lord tier 3? Why am I not super hype as I normally am for these announcements? Like, wow, guys, we're getting, right? I'm not doing that, right? Well, it's because I'm hiding a lot of rage. I've got the silent rage going on inside here. So I'm going to let it out just a little bit so you can understand why I think, and maybe you might agree with me, Star-Lord is a bad choice for tier 3. So the first reason that he's a bad choice for tier 3 is balancing. Namely the balancing between tier 3s of different types. So we do have, as last I checked, we have 4 types of characters in Marvel Future Fight. We have combat types, we have blast types, we have speed types, and we have universal types. However, Netmarble Monster and the Marvel Future Fight developers seem to not remember or not understand that they need to give us tier 3s in balanced quantities relative to the different classes, relative to the different types. So when we include Star-Lord in the equation, we now have 7 combat tier 3s, 9 blast tier 3s, another 7 speed tier 3s, and 3 universal tier 3s. That's right. We have 3 times as many blast tier 3s as we do universal tier 3s. If you don't see anything wrong with that, maybe go back and repeat grade 1 math. If we take a quick look at the list of all tier 3 characters, starting from Captain America and moving all the way down to Star-Lord, I'm going to give you a quick sort of, bullet point on groups of 6. And you're going to see how the first few groups of 6, they seem really nice, but then Netmarble Monster just, I don't know, they fudge the board, they drop the cards, they poop in their sock, they just mess it up completely. So the first 6 tier 3s that we got when tier 3 was first introduced was Combat Blast Speed, Speed Universal Speed. A little bit heavy on the speed types, granted, but we had a Combat, a Blast, a Speed, which is perfect balance, and then we had a Universal in there. Okay, so what about the next 6, Cynicalex? There we had Combat Blast Blast, Speed Combat, Universal. Wow, so again, they're able to fit 2 Universal tier 3s in the first 12, or 1 Universal tier 3 for every 6 tier 3s. Huh. That kind of makes sense. That sounds like decent balancing. It's not amazing. Marvel Future Fight still has horrible, terrible balancing compared to other games, but it's something. They're trying, I guess. Let's look at the next 6. We've got Combat Universal Blast, Blast Combat Blast. Okay, it seems a bit worse, but sure. Let's look at the rest. Since then, since we got our last Universal, what have they done? So right after the last Universal, this is more than the last 6, but after the last Universal, so since the last Universal, which if you don't know who the last Universal was, I don't blame you for not remembering because it's been over a year. That's right. It's been over a year since the last Universal Tier 3. It was Thanos. That's not Thanos. It was Thanos. Thanos was the last Universal Tier 3. Yeah. So, since Thanos, we've gotten Blast, Blast, Combat, Blast, Speed, Combat, Combat, Speed, Blast, Blast, Speed, and now Blast again. Yeah, that's right. So out of the last 4 Tier 3s, 3 of them have been Blast. It's crazy. It's crazy. Now, one of the reasons why I think there are a very high disproportionate amount of Blast Tier 3s is someone at Netmarble Monster is obsessed with the idea that mutant characters will net more money, will generate more money. And so that's why, disproportionate to all other classes, because of course there are no mutants who are universal. Don't give me the Jean Grey thing, it's a uniform. Because there are no universal mutants, the mutants have to fall into the 3 categories. So that has created a disproportionate number of Tier 3s that are mutants because they want money, and then that creates a disproportionate number of Blasts. Because there are not that many combat mutants, and there aren't that many speed mutants, but there are a lot of Blast mutants. So you can see where the bias begins. So we have 3 combat mutants out of 7, we have 1 speed mutant out of 7, but then we have 4 Blast mutants out of 9, and that includes Star-Lord. So if you take Star-Lord out of the equation, half of all Blast Tier 3s are mutant. Magneto, Professor X, Cyclops, and Jean Grey. So that is mind-blowing. So yeah, there's a huge disparity. There's a huge disparity between combat speed, Blast, and then Universal. Now, why are they doing this? I have no idea. I cannot answer this. Are they going to maybe rework the Universal class? Are they going to introduce a new 5th type? I don't know, but my guess is they don't care, and they're just dumb, and they're blind to the logic, and they're just doing whatever they want. Why is it still really bad for players? Why is it still really bad that there's such a disparity? Well, the problem with there not being any Universal Tier 3s, and the thing is, guys, you can't call Jean Grey a Universal Tier 3 because you don't use universal materials to Tier 3 her. You don't use universal books, right? You still use Blast books, okay? So why is it so bad that we get so many Blast Tier 3s compared to Universals? Well, it makes this world boss and this world boss much less attractive to play. Sure, they still drop materials, and they still drop specific Odin's blessings, but seriously, if you got your 10 Universal books after Tier 3ing Thanos, and you weren't going to Tier 3 Captain Marvel or Thor, you have no reason to play these world bosses for over a year. Think about that, right? Why would the devs purposely make part of the content in the game useless or near useless, very inefficient to play for over a year? Because they're not very smart and they don't care. Additionally, on top of that, because they keep pumping out Blast Tier 3 after Blast Tier 3 after Blast Tier 3, they're forcing players who want to keep up to play the same world boss over and over and over again. It's the Scarlet Witch and Cull Obsidian show, and that's it. How repetitive and boring is it to play the same world boss over and over again? It's extremely boring and repetitive. Oh, but Cynicalex, then you don't have to Tier 3 that character. You can just choose. I mean, is that really the message you want to send? So you're saying that for the past 3 months, if I didn't want a Tier 3 Professor X, and I didn't want a Tier 3 Wanda, Scarlet Witch, and now I don't want a Tier 3 Star-Lord, right? They're not giving you much choice anymore, are they? They're sort of tying your hands and forcing you to play this crap for a month straight. So it's very short-sighted, it's very bad planning, it's very lazy. I'm very disappointed in Marvel Future Fight and Netmarble Monster for being this stupid about just not giving us a Universal. On top of it being so stupid, there's more layers to the stupidity. So let's talk about the more layers to the stupidity. Now some people are speculating that they're going to give Star-Lord a Universal uniform. That's possible. He's not human. He's part alien or whatever. So it's possible, but that still doesn't fix the problem, right? It doesn't actually make him universal. It doesn't actually require you to use universal books. So it's the same issue as Jean Grey. Also, it would force them to change his leadership, because right now his leadership applies to blast types. So it would either need to apply to all allies or to universal types or something else. Okay, so there's that. On top of that, it's a bit misleading. I'm not going to use false advertising, don't worry, but it is misleading that they build this update. If you go back and you read the sneak peeks, it's a cosmic update, guys. There's a cosmic threat. Cosmic, okay, cosmic is how they describe universal types. These are cosmic entities. These are cosmic villains and cosmic heroes. And yet none of them are getting their tier 3, right? So it's an update about spies. It's a spy update. It's an update about, you know, stealthy heroes, and I'm going to give Hulk his tier 3. That makes sense, because Hulk is stealthy, and Hulk's a spy, right? No, it makes no sense whatsoever. There's nothing cosmic about Star-Lord. He's got a helmet because he can't breathe in space. There's nothing cosmic about him whatsoever, okay? He doesn't fly around through the stars except in his ship. Whereas some of these people literally fly around on their own because they are literally cosmic entities. And I'm not saying it has to be Silver Surfer. It could have been Beta Ray Bill. It could have been Cosmic Ghost Rider. It could have been Darkhawk. It could have been Gladiator. It could have even been Phyla-Vell, right? Those are all cosmic characters. Star-Lord is half cosmic at best. So that was another thing that really disappointed me. I felt like they were very on point with a lot of the branding in the update, and then when they got to the tier 3, they just completely shit the bed, like utterly. They just crapped all over the bed. Now, another thing here. Maybe they didn't have enough time, right? Some people are going to argue maybe they didn't have enough time, Cynicalex. They didn't know that we want tier 3, universal tier 3s that bad. Okay, so let's take a look at a video that I made from, what is this? August 15th, 2019. Okay, so that's 9 months ago. So they said that they submit their update proposals to Marvel 6 months in advance. So they were still 3 months away from submitting this cosmic update proposal. And that's assuming that they submit the updates one at a time and not 6 at a time. So regardless, they were still months away. Okay, at least 2 months away from submitting it. Many amazing universals, best pick for the next tier 3. So this video is basically my suggestions for, and so I break down the percentage of tier 3s, the universal blast, combat, and speed, basically what I've done today to an extent, and I basically illustrate the fact that, you know, they're not, oh come on, I'm running ads. Okay, so anyways, I basically say that there's not that many universal tier 3s, so we should choose the next universal tier 3. And, you know, I guess a bunch of people agreed. Over 1,000 people liked the video. And so I guess I'm not alone, hoping that we get a universal tier 3. Oh, who's that? Oh, it's Odin. Huh, interesting. 9 months ago. Huh, interesting. So they don't really have an excuse, right? I have one piece of proof, but there's probably many more pieces of proof that they've been told for at least 9 months now that we want universal tier 3s. And let me remind you, the last 9 tier 3s have been, we're not even going to include Star-Lord. But the last 9 tier 3s have been speed, blast, blast, speed, combat, combat, speed, blast, combat, blast. I went more than 9, but the point is the same. They're not listening. They're not listening at all. So it's very, very disappointing to me. And that's why I am upset. And that's why a lot of players are upset with this update. All of a sudden, I'm still really hyped for everything else in the update for sure. And I want to see what comes of it and what changes they make to game modes and stuff like that. But it is very disappointing to know that they really don't care what we have to say for the most part. And sure, they're listening to a small number of players, but I'm pretty sure that the number of players that wanted a universal tier 3 outweigh the number of players that wanted Star-Lord. And I'm not trying to pit players against each other. I'm not trying to say we should go hate on all the Star-Lord players or the fans of Star-Lord, but I'm just trying to say if they really are listening to the fans, they would know that a majority of people want any universal tier 3. I'm not saying it's Star-Lord's fault. I'm not mad at Star-Lord. I'm mad that they didn't choose a universal. They really should have chosen a universal. They made a gigantic mistake, and I just feel like they're going to keep making this mistake. So I'm going to keep spending as little money as possible that I can in this game. I'm actually not going to be even renewing my Stark stash this month because they gave me extra crystals. I was lucky, part of the Stark Creator Club. But yeah, I'm up to 14,000 diamonds or crystals. So I'm just going to let this expire, and I'm just going to keep riding it out and seeing. I don't have enough time. Dang. I was going to say I could get the next selector character, but I can't. Yeah, we'll see. But I'm just disappointed. I don't really think they're listening. I think that they're pretending to listen, and they're just going to keep doing whatever garbage they're trying to do to fulfill whatever stupid marketing strategy it is that they want. Ultimately, these moves It's so easy to course correct this kind of stuff. It's so easy to just recommend a different character for tier 3. The fact that they don't want to do this means that they're either pandering to a very small audience that clearly does not have the game's long-term interest in mind, or they are just following their own ideas, thinking that they know what's best for the game. But clearly, as revenue continues to decline, they will eventually be faced with the hard truth that they don't know what's best for the game, and they are ruining the game. Because it's not my fault that the game fell from 5% revenue to 4% to 3%. It's not your fault either. It's their fault. They're ruining the game with decisions like this, in my opinion. Not Star-Lord's fault, but he's just there by proxy. So anyways, that was kind of harsh at the end. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what your comments are down below, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.